Hey, I'm Marina.
And I'm Emily.
And I've seen everything in the Sex and the City empire 10,000 times.
And I'm starting fresh.
So I'll be woman-splaining the show.
And I'm along for the ride.
But there's a twist. We are starting with And Just Like That and working our way back to the beginning.
So in other words, we're watching it backwards and in high heels.
This is City and the Sex. Welcome back. This is our first foray that is And Just Like That. It's Sex in the City 2. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited.
So we are going to split this into two parts because my favorite thing to point out about this movie is that it is 2 hours and 26 minutes long. 2 hours and 26 minutes long. And they do not get to Abu Dhabi until an hour and 2 minutes in. I recorded it this time. I was precise in my measurements. An hour and 2 minutes in.
An insane decision. Insane. It is a lot. And I was expecting, honestly, the first half, I was like, there's not going to be much for us to talk about. Boy, was I wrong. Boy, was I wrong.
It is unhinged from frame one to frame end. That's the thing I always forget about this movie is that, you know, and everybody does talk about the Abu Dhabi stuff because Abu Dhabi stuff is crazy. But the part one stuff is just as bonkers in a completely different way. And I forget it every time.
Going back to our experiment, it is interesting to watch this movie after watching And Just Like That. I think if it was maybe the other way, it would seem somehow even more insane. And to me, it was like, it was insane. It is sort of bonkers in a funny way. But to me, it wasn't actually maybe as shocking as I think viewers initially felt, because to me, I'm coming from the world that this is like foreshadowing. You know what I mean? I'm coming from the world where this is the norm.
So for our two-parter, because the movie is perfectly divided this way, our part one will be basically everything before they get to Abu Dhabi, and our part two will be everything from Abu Dhabi to end. So for our part one, Emily, what is your one word for this section of the film?
So I think my word would be stuck, because I remember you told me that there were plans for like this and a third movie, and that I think is what surprises me the most, because watching especially this first half, I'm like, there are seeds of ideas here that maybe could have been, you know, pitched as a future season, but as a film, it just feels like so many of the characters are like very stuck and the plot is stuck, and it feels like we're sort of trapped in a season that got turned into a movie. It feels very much like here are the cut bits from season 8 or whatever that we've turned into a movie, but all right.
Yeah. My one word is Obama.
Interesting.
Because this movie just reeks of
Obama
like
era.
2009.
Yes, that is so true.
Oh, it came out in 2010 to be clear, but obviously was written and filmed probably in 2009. And so it just reeks of like, I mean, the fact, you know, so much of this first half is about the quote unquote gay wedding between Stanford and Anthony, which we'll get into, but it's like the way that they're just like, and legalized gay marriage. Yes, we can. Like it just has this, they mentioned the recession. It's just like the more we got
in
into
the past
this movie,
tense, by the way.
Yeah, they're like, those 2 years, they were hard. I'm like, those 2 years, people are still struggling.
It was 2 years. Madam,
ma'am, take a seat. Take a number and take a seat.
Yeah.
So that's my one word is just like Obama. I just felt like I was thrust right back into 2010. And I was like, you know, it was a weird time. It was a weird time.
It's a time capsule, really. There'll be, this is a historical artifact.
It is. It is. And they should put it in the Smithsonian. And with that, let's get into her. I'm so excited. This is Sex in the City 2. Okay. So we start with the biggest needle drops of needle drops, which is Empire State of Mind. JC Alicia Keys just fucking blasting as loud as it fucking can. I'm going to just say I get hyped from the song every time.
You're like, is it cringe? Yes. Does it get me? Also, yes.
Yeah, also, yes. It gets me down bad.
Yeah.
Quick story. 2 years ago, I lost my job. I was laid off, very sad. And that weekend, I went to a bar that was like a dancing bar in the Upper East Side. And they played the song. And I was started to cry. I was like, I am in New York and I will make it. Like I was so unfortunately, like I'm just a victim of the cult that is this song, and I'm just never gonna come around that.
I love that
Sorry.
image so much. And also, yes, that's exactly how you would respond. It's like, yes.
People were like, are you okay? I was like, I'm more than okay. I'm listening to Empire State of Mind.
I'm more than okay. I made this Yankee cat more famous than a Yankee can.
I just hate, though, that then it turns into this like horrific Sex in the City remix.
No. You got to commit to what we started with. You know what I mean? Just, I didn't like it. I was not happy with it. I was like jamming.
I know. 2010.
It's also the perfect welcome to what this movie is, you know? Thematically speaking. It's what you remember, but wrong.
But twisted. Also, it starts with good intentions and does not stick the landing.
No. I mean, do we want to talk about the first line of the movie?
Thank you. Okay, I was getting there because it gets me every time. It gets me every time because it makes no sense. Okay, you say the first line and then I'll say the second line.
Once long ago, there was an island. Some Dutch, some Indians, and some beads.
What does that mean?
Don't.
And then they turn the island into diamonds, and I'm like, are the beads diamonds? Because I'm like, the natives did not have diamonds in Manhattan.
Yeah, it felt like it was supposed to be a cheeky, like, here's a history of New York, but also it's like Sex in the City-fied. You know what I mean? We actually see a map of like prehistoric Manhattan.
Yes.
That is like not populated at all yet. And so I was like, oh, this is supposed to be the history of Manhattan or whatever.
Well,
and then it turns into diamonds.
And then the fact that we go from, and those beads led to Fifth Avenue.
Yeah, what?
And skyscrapers. And you're like, what the fuck are the beads in the metaphor? Somebody please tell me.
Yeah, she goes,
I have to know.
Steamships and skyscrapers and Fifth Avenue.
Like, just the fact that we start on some Indians.
Yeah.
Which I think we had already decided in 2009 was like no longer acceptable to say. Some Indians and their beads. And those beads, they led to World Trade Center. You're like, what are we talking about?
Weird place to start. It's very, you know, coffee table book of just sort of like for children. It's like, and there were beads and skyscrapers and Carnegie Hall. You know, it's like listing all the things and you in the picture book.
Yeah, it's a coffee table book that you're not meant to read because the second you read it, you realize the text is just like lorem ellipsum randomness. Yes. And you're like, okay. And I hate it. I refute this. And then, of course, we get the ending line, which was also my favorite, where she was like, I call it New York City, BC, before Carrie. And I was like, yes, our girl is back to who she truly is, as opposed to the bastardized characterization that she is in. And just like that, like we are back at home in our unhinged Carrie, which is what I want.
Yes. Yeah. It does feel like the And Just Like That Carrie, but like amplified. It's so weird to be watching it backwards, but to me it feels like the final form of Carrie that I'm seeing.
Yeah. I was like euphoric at the voiceover. I was like, I cannot turn it up. That and Empire State of Mind, I was like, yeah, I feel cleansed. I'm back in the cult. I'm like, now I understand why I was in this to begin with.
Right. You're like, they got me.
Then we get a charming montage that's the girls in their 80s forms. Which is, I think, fan service, but I'm still a fan of it.
I was gonna say, how'd you feel? How'd you like it? I thought it was sort of a cute idea to be kind of, you know.
It's cute.
Yeah.
You know.
It felt very like high school theater.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. That's exactly what it was giving.
Especially Charlotte with her like actively brushing her hair.
I mean, Carrie with a discarded Fatal Attraction wig makes sense.
Yeah.
It's so bad, and it's more of a crime because her natural hair is like Fatal Attraction curls. So the fact that they had to put her in a wig to achieve her natural hair will send me to no end.
We always have questions, I feel like, about wigs on the show where we're like, but why? You can just do the normal. Why? I don't know. Maybe they just like them.
I'm really OCD about wigs and hair. It drives me crazy, and I'm sorry. And that's my PSA. I'm sorry, but I'm going to go there every time.
Boy, I also can't wait to talk about some hats in this movie. That's a tease for later.
I'm already sweating.
She's perspiring.
We talked about Charlotte and her preppy outfit. I love Miranda.
Very
as
fun.
like 80s lawyer Miranda giving us like working girl nightmare with that haircut. That's the one wig where I'm like, this is good.
This is a good, silly wig.
It's a silly wig, but it's not like such a big joke. It just is like perfect.
Yes. Yeah.
And then Samantha, oh my God, Samantha is in a product that you get to finally watch. And we see her pull a, I'm walking here. Looking amazing, frankly speaking.
It like her entrance to me felt like I need to be standing up in my living room and clapping because so much anticipation has been building for this moment. You know what I mean? For me to see her, that it was really exciting. It felt like watching a celebrity cameo.
Yeah. Yeah. I stand up every time regardless, so I'm glad.
You're like, I stand for my national anthem and I support my troops.
President.
Yeah, my president.
So the four girls gather at Bergdorf Goodman for the wedding registry of Stanford Blatch and Anthony. I don't remember his last name. Sorry about it. And Charlotte's like, my gay best friend is marrying Carrie's gay best friend.
Yeah, and the store assistant is like, that's so sweet. Hilarious.
The store assistant that's wearing like a doily vagina around her neck.
Yeah, good catch. good.
I was obsessed.
You're like, I want it.
Transfixed. Yep. Put it on me. Put it on my dog. I'm marrying it regardless. So they chit chat about how fun it is that their gay best friends are getting married, and then there's another unhinged. This is what I'm talking about when I said Obama at the beginning of this. We like cut to like the Connecticut Inn, I guess, where the wedding is happening. And Carrie has her voiceover where she's like, so we all gathered in this like charming Connecticut Inn. The view was breathtaking and the wedding was legal.
We're in, baby. This movie is already rocking and rolling. It's hard to keep up. I mean, eventually I had to like tell myself to stop taking notes every time someone said a line like that because this was just going to be the movie. It's just, they're going to say things like that and then move on.
Oh, that one I had to. I want to be also very clear that obviously Emily and I are pro gay marriage, same-sex marriage.
Yeah, that's not
I just want to say that before like this comes back to haunt me in 10 years. It's just the way that they discuss, like the way that the word gay is said
so
almost
many times
pejoratively.
Yes, like it is a weird joke, and should we get into the wedding and my confusing thoughts on it and my general vibe?
Absolutely.
Okay, so
yes.
Like Michael Patrick King is gay. Yes, we've established. Yes. Okay, so I want to say there have been a few times where Michael Patrick King will confuse me about something, and you'll be like, "Oh no, he used to do stand up," and I'm like, "What?" So this is one of those cases where I'm like, I have much less authority on gay weddings as a straight woman than Michael Patrick King is going to, obviously. But there's something inherently very, how do I put it, straight about this wedding in a way that I found very baffling. And I think you've also kind of pointed it out, is that everyone keeps saying, it's a gay wedding, it's so gay, look how gay it is. There's literally a gay choir here. And when the gay choir showed up, I'm like, this is not actually gay, though. This is like Republican. I think the thing about this wedding that really gets at the fun of it that it could have had is when Liza Minnelli comes out for her cameo. And we'll talk about that in a second. But then they kind of beat that joke to death, because then that in itself I thought would have been funny, but then literally Miranda kind of almost looks at the camera and is like, when Liza Minnelli hears gay things are happening, she manifests. It's something like that. It's like, what is that? Michael, I know that you're gay. Why is everyone talking like they've never met a gay person before? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. So first of all, you and I are on the same train.
Okay.
Because I think what it is that the wedding is only commented on by straight people because the two gay people in the show are getting married. So we see them for like 2 microseconds. So all the commentary around the wedding is from straight people. And so that's why it feels like at a certain point, it's like, how many jokes can we make
Yeah, wow,
about this gay wedding before it like turns into like a, do you hate these guys?
Yeah.
Because that's like where it feels for me.
Yeah.
Because I think we hate these guys.
That's a good read. Everyone's making too many jokes about it, and you're like, do you all just think that this is like not a real wedding? Or you like think there's something inherently kind of like, oh, how cute. They're having their version of a wedding.
Yes, that it comes across as very much that, especially when we start with Carrie and Big, and Carrie being like, "How's my tie?" and Big instantly getting the ick. You can read on his face. He's like, "I don't like any of this." By the way, Carrie wearing a suit is like the only remotely queer thing about this wedding.
That's a good point. That's
so the fact that we immediately shit on that, I'm like, okay, well,
homophobic. I know. We got him.
Then we get to the wedding. As we mentioned, there's the gay men's chorus, which is, I mean, incredible. Sorry. We kind of learn that Charlotte's been having some trouble with now Rose, because Rose is like a toddler, a 2-year-old, and she's crying every night and she's very, very fussy. But you can tell that Charlotte's trying not to complain, kind of trying to push it to the side. Samantha brings her dog, which like I literally think is for the purpose of having one like get your bitch out of here joke. And then like we never hear or see this dog again for the rest of the movie.
I completely forgot about this moment and I watched this film today. You're so right. She brings the dog in a purse to make the joke about a bitch. And then the dog is never mentioned or seen again.
Nope. Evaporated. Which I get it. I don't want a bunch of dog bits in Abu Dhabi either.
No, I don't either. There were so many scenes where I wrote in my notes, cut, ? Because I don't know why it's here. It has...
Editor Emily put her full editor glasses on and was like, all right, we got to trim out at least 26 minutes. We got to at least make this 2 hours. Let's go. Yeah. Chop.
I left my notes in Frame.io.
Yeah, perfect. Yes. So Anthony walks up to the group and they're like, Anthony, this wedding is crazy. And he's like, I know. I decided to give Stanford the wedding of his dreams. And because I did that, I get to cheat. And they're all like, really? And then they're like, why do you get to cheat? And he's like, because I'm Italian. And then they all kind of laugh and also kind of cringe and also are like, cheating in a marriage is bad. It's a very weird moment.
Yeah. I don't know what to say. I was just like shook. It was a shocking thing to say, but also I'm so used to Anthony just coming in with these one-liners that I kind of didn't take him seriously until the conversation kept going on, and then he left and they kept discussing it with each other about like how bad it is, and I was like, oh no, this is really happening. What's happening?
I think there's a lot of marriage judgment in this movie, and I know that that's the purpose, and I think that that's true to life. Like people are very judgmental, but it is kind of weird because he does deliver it in a laugh line way that made me laugh. But then when people are like, no, wait, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay.
Well, we're going to get to a lot of strange reactions to marriage throughout this entire film, so I guess this is just the start.
This is where we know things are going wrong. Carrie goes to see Stanford. I actually love his suit. I love the like big bow tie with also the ascot. I think that needs to be like a thing that more men do. And that I will do.
And also, check please. I'm getting this.
Yeah. The one good moment from this whole tent scene that I love the most is when they're kind of ribbing each other about their outfits. And Carrie says something to Stanford along the lines of like, whoa, like, look who's talking, Lady Dior. And Stanford just turns to her and goes, bitch. It's like, oh, this is a good moment.
This is a good moment. Yes.
We gotta relish the times when the times are good.
Yeah, exactly. We have to celebrate it when it happens.
Because immediately after she puts on a horrific crown. That is just one of the worst.
What?
Hat watch. First of all, hat watch.
Yeah, she calls it a hat.
And also call the cops.
She calls it a hat. She takes it. Yeah. Sound the alarm. Sound the bells. She calls it a hat. She opens the hat box. She like squeals in excitement. And then she pulls out a thing that made me squint at the TV because I'm like, that's not a hat. And then she puts on, I was like, maybe it's a headband. So she's being sort of liberal with the use of hat. It's not even quite a headband. It's a crown that's like against her forehead. And it looks like a Final Fantasy character.
Yeah, it's giving she wanted to be in Snow White and the Huntsman, but then Charlize got the role and she's bitter about it. And then we get to a rousing rendition of Sunrise, Sunset. And then as we mentioned, Liza Minnelli fucking comes out and kills it.
Yeah.
Smokes it. Then when we cut to her doing Single Ladies, I mean...
Whatever. Yeah, I'm like, is this crazy? Yes. But is this the crazy that I signed up for? Also, yes. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And also I mean, she is serving. I also think this is probably the last time she danced on on film.
Yeah.
And looks incredible.
She looks incredible. Yeah. I was genuinely surprised. I was like on Wikipedia, like looking up her age for this, and I was like, wow, she's like really killing it there. She's like really going for it with the choreography.
It's phenomenal. If you don't see anything about this movie, just watch her. At least see the Liza Minnelli do the Singles Lady dance because it is incredible.
It's so good. And also, yeah, it takes you back to the Obama era.
Obama! That's what I'm saying. Am I wrong?
No,
There's
it's
just
so
something
true.
about it that's just like, where is he going to come out?
It's crazy.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah. It's like that song starts playing and someone even makes a joke about how like, I'm so glad I got married before so we didn't have to listen to this song at all of our weddings or something like that. And I'm like, right, this isn't like a dated throwback reference. This is currently the craze that is sweeping the nation, the Obama nation.
God. All I know is that if Cowboy Carter does not feature a duet with Liza Minnelli, like Beyonce,
what's the point?
Figure it out.
Send it back.
I would never question Beyonce. I never would, and I never will. But also girly. Get Liza on that track.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
So then Rose is being fussy. We hear more about that. Miranda is dealing with a really bad boss at work that's like overly demanding of her. So she's just like stuck on her BlackBerry trying to email him back. She says something too to the effect of like, he's basically nasty to me in person, but he's nicer to me over email. It's just heartbreaking to see her and Steve be cute in this scene. Yeah. That's the hardest part.
Yeah.
When he's like, put the phone down. And you're like, oh
God, it really does break my heart. It's like there are a few moments with Miranda that really break my heart in this movie. It's sad because like they just really, Steve is being really sweet, you know. He's like, come on, let's go dance, you know, put the phone down or whatever. And she's like kind of stuck on it, but then she puts it down and smiles so warmly at him and kisses him to go dance. And God, it's so painful. It's so painful, Marina.
I know. Just rip it out. A man flirts with Big. Most exciting thing to happen to him in the last 10 years. Okay.
I thought gay men were supposed to have taste.
Get him. Get his ass. Then we get, I think I'm gonna lay the land down and say I think that this is the most unhinged scene in the movie.
Oh.
Which is that Carrie and Big are sitting at their table next to Kelly O'Hara and generic man number one. And Kelly O'Hara turns to Carrie and Big and she's like, oh, Carrie, I'm your biggest fan. I basically am you. Like, I am just living your life. And Carrie's like, oh my God, nice to meet me. And then basically like they start talking about marriage because they're like, oh, how long have you been married to Big? They're like, oh, it's been 2 years. And Kelly O'Hara is like, oh, we're 2 years away and we're having a baby and our baby is going to be born on our anniversary. And Carrie and Big are like, congratulations. And then Kelly's like, well, obviously I'm not with child. Duh, which is a weird way to say it.
Yeah.
And she's like, so we're having a baby through a surrogate. And Carrie's like, oh, that's good. And then they're like, oh, so are you going to have kids? We'll give you our surrogate's number, which is like, okay. And Carrie's like, no, we're just not really thinking about having kids. It's not really for us. the way that this couple like sneers.
Yeah.
Just like the most horrific sneer.
Yeah.
Like they like look at each other like, oh my God. As if Carrie and Big suddenly are like lepers.
Yeah.
That are their skin is like melting.
Yes.
They look at each other like, oh my God, I can't believe I was a fucking fan of this bitch.
Yeah. They're so
and turn like
disgusted.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like,
and then they punctuate it with, oh, so it's just you two?
yeah. It was one thing to like have that big face and they'll look at each other, whatever. And then they had the audacity for him to go, but wait. So it's just you two? That's crazy. It's crazy.
It's like, I get it. The move, how do I say?
Sure.
Like, women do face a certain pressure to have children, obviously. But there's just something funny about when I see Carrie and Big, I'm like, there's no way these two people are having kids. So it's crazy to me when people are like, so you guys aren't going to pop out a baby? I'm like, have you seen Big? Have you looked at his face? This man is not raising children.
This man has negative interest in children.
Carrie is wearing a tiara at her friend's wedding.
She's wearing a napkin on her face with spikes.
This woman is not having a baby. The way that they're like, oh, so you're not going to have kids? I'm like, and the worst part is about this whole scene? There are people like that.
Yeah, I mean, there are people who are incredibly judgmental about the kid thing. No, that's true. That's true. I mean, I've never seen anyone react so. Yeah. So like theatrically disgusted about it. But it's absolutely true. But these people are already kind of straight. I mean, the fact that they were like, oh, obviously I'm a surrogate. Anyway, do you want my surrogate's number? Without even like, no pretense. It's crazy. It's so crazy. I mean, like, we're not even gonna. We have a lot of movie to get through, so we're not going to even open the book on the like controversies of surrogacy. But I do want to point it out because there is a undercurrent like theme in this movie of how should I say, the haves and the have-nots that I think in the era of Obama and like post 2008 America. Really makes this movie a hell of a ride in a way that I don't think MPK realized he was doing.
So then Samantha's at the bar flirting with Anthony's never to be seen again brother Nicky.
We don't hear that he exists anymore. I mean, you weren't kidding when it came to the family members being super fast and loose because like,
nope.
Wow, that.
They're there to be fucked, and that's it. They have sex. We get the last appearance of the dog, which is the dog is also humping the pillow while they have sex. And then we kind of like scan over the wall to Charlotte in bed with Harry and their two kids, and Rose is screaming. And so then we pan over to Carrie and Big, and they can hear both the sex and the screaming. And this, I think, is one of the funniest jokes in the whole movie.
I was going to make the exact same point that you're about to make.
Because they're caught in the middle, and Big is like, I don't know what's worse, the screaming or the sex. And Carrie's like, no, Samantha's definitely worse because eventually the baby will tire. That
is what we call in the biz a joke.
A joke. Ding! It gets me every time. But Carrie and Big are fooling around on the TV, and they get to It Happened One Night, which is actually one of my favorite movies, which is a classic 1930s screwball kind of rom-com-y movie. And they have a very touching night. Carrie has the line that's like, we were somewhere between baby and wild sex. And I was like, yeah, that's accurate, yeah. I guess. And I do also love the joke here that when Big is explaining the movie to her, he's like, it's this classic movie from the 1930s. And she's like, did you see it when it originally came out? Great. Phenomenal.
It tricks you into thinking the rest of the movie is going to be like this, and it will not be.
It will not be. So then we get to the next day at brunch, and we learn that Samantha is trying to reverse menopause via hormones, pills, and Suzanne Summers, which is also a big thing from 2009. Mm-hmm. That book. Somehow I remember learning about this book in high school via osmosis and thinking like, I'm going to be okay because Suzanne Summers is going to have my back in 50 years.
Yeah. she'll have the roadmap by the time I get there.
Suzanne Summers has my back. And honestly, truly nothing but rest in peace to Suzanne Summers, because I can't imagine how many women she has saved by having them rub vaginal creams to restore their youth.
We love a woman with hobbies.
Listen, men get to retire and play golf and just become sacks of flesh, and we get to do this.
Right, exactly.
And that's what I look forward to.
And that is a privilege.
And that in this post-recession America is a right.
Exactly. Oh.
So we learn about that.
I will say it made me a little sad. I don't know if Samantha really gets the very favorable treatment, I think, in some scenes, and let's put it like that. And then the cream stuff and the menopausal stuff and just so many jokes about that, it felt a little mean. And also, like, you know, for the record, she says she's 52, but my God, she doesn't look it. I mean, she looks younger than, you know, I'm not going to say names, but some of the other girls in the group.
Yeah, yes. And I think it becomes more clearer every day why Kim Cattrall was like, fuck these guys.
Yeah.
Because, like, look at the other plots that everybody else has to basically deal with that are so much better and so much interesting. Even, like, Miranda and Charlotte's plots, let's say, are a little bit more shallow, but at least there's, like, stuff to play with there. Whereas, like, yeah, Kim Cattrall's getting her script, and it's like screams about menopause on every page. Yeah. And she's like, all right, well, this is the last movie I do for you fucks.
Yep.
I would be the same way too.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly.
I would be the same way too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And she still turns the best performance.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. I was going to get to that. Is like, that is astonishing that she checked into work and like nailed it. I have so much respect though for this, is where like she actually came and then like showed him up and was like, no, I'm going to do this ridiculously stupid and like insulting script you've given me, and I'm gonna just like commit really hard to it. And damn, I have respect for that.
Nothing but claps. Then we meet Erin, the hot Irish nanny with no bra.
I mean, I thought this was very funny.
I mean, it is the best part of the movie. I had a realization today because I was like, why the Irish things feel so random to me? Like, and then I realized somebody had the stroke of genius that, like, what music do you play with her bouncing titties? And like that Irish jig is perfect.
Yes.
Like, I have to say, I cannot think of anything else that would be good enough to play under the current of her titties slapping around.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have no hatred towards this woman.
No, I mean, it is perfectly done. It's perfectly done. It's also is one of those rare jokes where it's like not overdone, in my opinion. It's like just enough. It's not a throwaway thing, but it like we return to the music playing just enough times. And Charlotte's face, like her facial reactions, make it so funny. You know, it's like the whole thing we do like maybe 2 or 3 times, and I never got tired of it. I loved it. I loved it.
So Carrie and Big are at home. Well, Big wants to eat in, and he puts his shoes on the couch. This scene is just like, this is what Big and Carrie are like married, which is that Big just wants to sit and be old, and Carrie hates every part of that. This is like the rolling start of this ball that will be this entire plot of this movie.
Yeah. I mean, I think this was a fantastic introduction to Mr. Big properly, because again, like his character is so limited to me that like, you know, any little like crumb I get is like so much funnier. And I think like I'm getting introduced to him not the way that Carrie must be introduced to him, where he's going to be charming and young and suave and mysterious. It's like I'm getting him as stonks man who puts his shoes on the couch and just watches TV and doesn't do anything. He just sits on the couch and watches TV until you direct his sim to go to the kitchen and make food. You know, it's like, and then you tell him to go to bed. It's like there's nothing there. He's like this weird walking doll to me. So just watching this argument that's going to unfold about like, you just order takein and sit on the couch and you don't want to go out, and I'm like, well, yeah, he's just like a dude. There's nothing else going on here as a man. I think Mr. Big is the funniest character in the whole show. Frankly.
I think the biggest crime about this movie is that Mr. Big comes out on top in this movie. And we'll get into it deeper. This is the theory I'm putting out there, and I will prove in this essay, I will, that every time they have a scene about their home life, he checkmates her every time. And I hate to see it.
Yeah.
As a woman, I hate to fucking see it, and it makes me fucking mad. But we will get into it. But essentially, we see that they start to bicker.
Yeah.
We cut to Miranda. That kid that they cast as Brady is so precious. Can I just say?
His big ol' eyes. He's like, Brady. He breaks just looking at him breaks my heart.
I know. But it's like literally perfect casting. He looks like the actor who plays Steve. It's uncanny. Every time I see that little kid, I'm like, I don't know where they found this little man.
This little man.
But he is incredible.
Well done.
Well done. Steve is like pushing her to quit her job because they're not treating her right. And so Miranda's like, I'm a lawyer. That's who I am. And I was sitting there being like, wow, this is her whole plot in And Just Like That. And they do it in this movie in 5 scenes. Sad.
And it really goes to show, I think, the circular way her plot ends up in And Just Like That, where it's like, do you actually know what we're doing with her? Like, do you actually care? Because like, we're doing this already here, you know? I also want to point out that what I liked about Steve was that he's telling her to quit not because she's not spending enough time with him. It's that they're not treating her well. You know what I mean? It comes from a place of like, this is not making you happy. And her insisting, no, this is making me happy. Is like, it's just a very slight thing. But just given the different kinds of arguments we see couples have on the show, I just wanted to highlight that.
Anyway, Miranda goes to the law firm and she gets into an altercation with her boss. That's good. And she quits. And she makes it to Brady's science fair.
We're going to start crying. It's so sad. It's like a scene that I think would be like kind of sweet and if not forgettable normally, but coming backwards and watching this, it is such tragic irony. It is you know what it reminds me of? I think, did we talk about this last time? Merrily We Roll Along.
Yes.
Okay. So that's the story that like works backwards, and it's the whole thing is predicated on like dramatic irony because like you know how all these characters end. So when you go back in time when things are happier and hopeful, it's like makes it more and more depressing because you know what's coming. That feels like what we're doing here, like in this podcast, is we're watching the downfall in a way that I think Sondheim would also think is very like tragic. We're doing the Merrily We Roll Along, and this scene really hit totally powerfully because it's depressing because you know that this family is going to be like torn apart, you know, when this kid grows up. Is like, oh, she comes in and she's so excited to be there. She's like, I quit my job. Steve is so excited to see her there. And he's like, look, it's Brady. You know, and she turns around and the cheer she lets out when he wins and he like beams looking at his mom came. I mean, Marina, I was like, they're ripping my heart out because Chade fucking Diaz is going to come along and destroy this happy home.
Okay, what I need now is the edit of this scene and then somebody having Che Diaz be like, hey, it's Che Diaz, and like bursting through the door like the Kool-Aid man. That is what I need.
Yeah, hard cut to that scene. Hey.
Yeah, it is so funny how this scene, like when you watch it, if you were to watch it normally, you're just like, this is another cheesy scene of her being there for her son. But with the context that we have, it is Shakespearean. It is Macbethian, like born of woman, ominous of like
haunting,
sad. Then we get to this scene, which is a return of the Irish nanny hit number 2, which is that Charlotte peers into the bathroom where the nanny and Harry are giving Rose a bath. First of all, this bathroom is super luxe.
Yeah, wow.
The tub is like in the middle of the room and it's fucking huge.
Giant freestanding tub in the middle with like gold plating on the, like, again, the money. I would like to see everyone's tax returns, please.
I'm like, were they all in on it so none of them were affected? Because I don't understand how everybody's doing great financially.
Yeah.
And of course, you know, the water gets sprayed everywhere and we get some graphic nipples through the wet white t-shirt. It's visceral.
It's so funny though.
You gotta love it.
And Kristen Davis's, you know, increasingly disturbed face as she slowly closes the door.
It's too good.
It's too good.
So then Carrie's at home and she's getting her new book, you know, the galleys of her new book or whatever that's set to come out called I Do, I Don't.
Oh, Carrie.
Classic. And Charlotte calls about the nanny. And I'm going to go through this scene super quickly because our friend and longtime listener, Darren, shout out, actually, I think summarizes this scene best. But to go through it very quickly, Charlotte calls Carrie because she's worried that, you know, Harry might cheat on her with the nanny, because Samantha in the earlier scene basically was like, it's illegal to hire a nanny that hot. Your husband's definitely going to sleep with her. And Carrie's trying to calm her down, but like mania is happening. So Rose is screaming. Lily is demanding attention. And it all culminates in this moment when Lily puts red paint handprints on Charlotte's ass, touching her vintage cream-colored Valentino skirt. And Charlotte has a Mentee bee in the pantry, and the Irish nanny comes to save the day. I'm just going to drop our friend's review of this because I think he put it pretty succinctly.
Yeah, so Marina forced me to watch this movie against my will, and it was truly one of the worst experiences of my life. I felt physically sick after it was over. And the moment I realized that we were an hour and a half in and there were 45 minutes left of this movie, I felt my life draining away. And I could talk a lot about many aspects of this movie. The thing that really, I feel like, highlights the things that drive me insane was every scene involving the babysitter, because genuinely, great person, super nice, always supportive. She fucking opens a closet and sees Charlotte crying, and all she does is try and ease her burdens there. Takes the kids somewhere else, doesn't ask any questions, never brings it up again. Sees someone in pain and just tries to make life a little bit easier for her in whatever way she can. And every time they're talking about her, it is constantly negative. They're just shitting on her. And then it's apparently resolved because she's gay. Also, like, fuck that. I mean, what are you even talking about?
I think part of the flaws of this movie, I think, are that a lot of the setup problems actually get resolved before they leave for Abu Dhabi. But like, because we have a whole other half of this movie, she needs to get distrusting again and insecure again, kind of for no reason.
You know, to Darren's point, like, what has this nanny done? This nanny has done everything right. So it's very confusing that it continues on to be this central tension with Charlotte. So then after that, we get to Samantha committing a Me Too, which is essentially, she has an all glass office in Times Square, and she rubs her vagina creams on in the middle of her office where her assistant can see her do it, which is unfortunately inappropriate. I don't even think it's funny. No. Every time I see the scene, I'm like, it's not funny. No. It's inappropriate. Go to a fucking bathroom. I hate it.
No, it's terrible. It's terrible. And like, and this is where I started to feel like, oh, we're getting mean. And I do think that the joke of it, I think you're right, is just because she's a woman that they play it off as a joke. But this is not cool. Like, this is really bad, actually. And she's going to continue to do like pretty inappropriate things throughout this film. But it's funny because woman.
Smith Jared calls. I don't want to tell you anything more about him because he's in the show. Yeah, he's in the show.
All right.
And he's in the first movie. So this will not be the last time we see him.
Delightful.
But he calls and he's filming a movie in Abu Dhabi and he wants her to come to the premiere. Carrie and Big then are at home for their anniversary. This, we can admit, though, is Big's biggest flop here, which is that Carrie gives him a beautiful Rolex vintage watch with an inscription on the back, basically just being like the two of us. And he gets her a flat screen TV in the bedroom so that they can watch old movies. To his credit, not a bad idea. but that's like a surprise gift you give somebody on like a Tuesday,
Yeah.
not an anniversary present.
Exactly. You worded it perfectly. I was going to say, I'm like, I mean, the gift itself is like not good because like you and I know that Carrie is not a TV person. But the intention behind it is clearly to like spend time because they had this nice thing. So it's like, I don't think it's like the worst idea. You know, I see what he was going for. His problem though is he's coming to the gunfight with a knife. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
This is your anniversary, dude. You worded it perfectly. This is your gift for Tuesday. This isn't your anniversary. I prepared this special thing for this very special day for you gift. I mean, it's really woof.
Yeah. It also is a great example of men because it's like, yeah, I can't think of a worse gift to give Carrie Bradshaw.
No. It's so unbelievably unrelated to her. But you know what? I'll give him this. His funeral is going to be all about Carrie, so he might as well make their bedroom all about him.
He might as well make life about him. He might as well make the life about him. Listen.
He doesn't have much time left.
This was a pre-revenge. He was like, I know what my funeral is going to look like, so I might as well be able to get to watch Deadliest Catch in the bedroom.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I have a sense that my afterlife will not be peaceful.
So I'm going to be buried in Paris, so I might as well live it up here.
Exactly.
So that causes a fight. Suffice to say. So Carrie and Samantha go shopping for the premiere dress. One line that I love is Carrie's like, oh, are you nervous to see like Smith and Jared again? And Samantha's like, I may throw him a fuck if I like the movie. Icon.
An icon.
I
may throw him a fuck is a really great phrase.
We should all be saying that all the time.
Yeah,
that is an incredible phrase. But essentially Samantha gets kind of like shamed for looking at a dress that is too young.
This is weird. I mean, it was like a really forced contrivance, obviously, because we need to have this little snippy moment and it's going to set up a joke later. But I don't think the dress was too young. I don't know why people thought that. Is it because it's strapless? I mean, it was like, I don't really understand what they were going for. Everything in that store looked kind of the same age group. You know what I mean?
Let me say this. I think the dress is fucking ugly. And I think it's because it's too short and I think because essentially it's showing too much skin. It's not for a sophisticated older woman.
Okay.
They're bad though, because she still looks incredible in it. For as ugly a dress as it is.
Yeah, no, it's ugly. But it like she you know, she wears it well. She's got nice jewelry and stuff. So she makes it work. But yeah, it's weird. I don't know.
So then Big commits the crime of coming home with Sobu takeout.
Really funny.
This whole scene is incredible.
He's a riot, Marina. He's a riot. Everything he does makes me laugh.
It's so good. Let me just do the scene top to bottom and then we'll go through it because every part of this scene is incredible.
Okay. Yeah.
Should be studied in acting classes.
Okay.
So Carrie decides that, or she like asks Samantha in the prior scene, like, can Big and I come to the premiere? And Samantha's like, of course. So Carrie's at home getting ready to go to the premiere and Big comes home and he's like trying to bring the real world for once into this goddamn movie. He's like, the market's down. I'm having a bad time. Like, I don't want to go out on a Monday. I'm just like not into it. And then he's like, can't you go by yourself? Like, and you know, Carrie kind of like puts up a little fight for a little bit. But eventually, like, they come to the measured decision, which is like, Carrie, if you want to go, you should go. You should go with your friends and you should enjoy yourself. And I should be left to sit at home. And it's kind of like, okay, they come to this resolution. Carrie sees the Sobu bag on the dining room table. She says, what is that? He says, oh, I just grabbed some dinner. She stomps over to the alcohol cart, pours a big glass of something, walks over to him and is like, drink this, we're leaving, get a fresh shirt on. Like, basically, how dare you take a backseat and order in dinner? This is not what our relationship is about. Like, you need to get on a fresh shirt, get the fuck out of the house because we're not the couple that's going to sit here and eat Sobu for dinner every fucking day. I think my biggest problem with this scene is that this will be me. This is what I will turn into.
You're like,
And it's
actually,
painful for me to witness it.
I really hated this scene because it was like looking in a mirror.
The way that the scene takes, like it has like a roller coaster drop in your stomach when she charges over to that alcohol cart to pour him a drink and force him to go out. And it's like, lady, you came to the measured response, which is just like, go out with your friends and enjoy your life, and he doesn't have to fucking come.
Right. It's the way that it sets her off is so funny and strange because they reached the resolution already. It wasn't even just like, oh, I guess I'll find someone. She was literally like, oh no, I'll call Stanford. Like the whole thing was solved. And when she goes over to the cart to pour a drink, I thought she was for herself. And I was like, whoa, okay, let's not overreact to the Sobu. And then she does something even more extreme, which is to go over to him and be like, drink this, and shoves it in his face. And I was like, whoa, okay, let's not overreact to the Sobu. Crazy. I mean, it is. I do like, once again, I just need to shout out my man, Mr. Big.
My man, my homeboy, who holds the fort in this whole scene. But anyway, continue.
Sitting on the couch, and when she's like, wait, you're just going to sit on the couch all day? And he says, the market went down 100 points. I don't know what that means. Like, just say that out of context. You know what I mean? It's like, we don't know what that means. I don't know what you do. I don't know what the you seem to be home at a reasonable hour. You know, it's not like you're trading through the night. I don't know what he does. I don't know what 100 points means when we're in the middle of a financial crisis. You know what I mean? But I do just love that he's just like, Carrie, the market's down 100 points. I gotta watch Deadliest Catch to relax.
It really is like one of the good things from And Just Like That is when she goes to Natasha and she's like, I think, he was a finance bro. In his way, he was saying sorry. Like, it's scenes like this that make that sentence more and more clear, where it's like, nobody knows fuck what he fucking does, and it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, he does deserve to sit at home and watch Deadliest Catch and not be tortured by this woman.
Exactly. Like, this is actually what makes him happy. We've solved it. She's spending her whole life trying to figure out, how do I make him happy? How do I get him? Whatever. This is what makes him happy. It's Deadliest Catch and Sobu. He just wants to be on the couch. And then she's like, don't you want to come to this premiere or whatever? And he's like, to get pushed and shoved all night. Like, he's just such disdain for whatever. It's so funny.
Who knew that in 2024 we would identify with Mr. Big? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Because I'm watching this like, the man went to work and had a hard day at work, and he deserves some fucking takeout and some chill time on the fucking couch.
Right. He doesn't have to go to the party with your friend. You don't. You and I have to discuss about this. You do not need to bring your significant other to every single goddamn event you're invited to. You have friends. You have friends. You have plus ones. And if you don't have a plus one, you got to go by yourself. You got to learn how to love yourself, guys. You do not need to be dragging your significant other everywhere and then get mad at them if they're having a hard day at work and they're like, I'm actually going to sit on this one. Ask your friend. Ask your friend, guys. He doesn't have to go. It's crazy. This is, Carrie is driving us crazy when she's having us talk favorably about Mr. Big. Do you know what I'm saying?
Listen,
this is not
let your straight boy sit at home.
Leave him at home.
That's our new movement, okay? Let your straight boy sit at home. He doesn't have to come to everything. He doesn't want to fucking come to anything. And sorry about it. He's not that interesting anyway. So when he does come, it's useless.
Yeah, he's useless.
Let your straight boy sit at home.
Your friends don't want him there?
We don't.
Sorry. Let him sit at home.
Let him stay at home. So they go to the Heart of the Desert premiere. I don't know if you noticed the poster for this movie, which is just Smith Darrad carrying a child in a military outfit. The fake poster for this fake movie. I want it. If someone could make it and send it to me, thank you very much. It's incredible. And they go, there is a hilarious moment where Samantha goes on the red carpet and Miley Cyrus is wearing the same dress, and they pose together, proving furthermore that Miley Cyrus has always been an icon and a woman lover, and we stand.
Mm-hmm. She's a girl's girl.
She's a girl's fucking girl. I will say that this movie separates the men from the boys, and that it separates the girls from the not girls.
Ooh, that is a spicy and right on target take.
Spicy hot take. And our first girl, Miley Cyrus. I also love the Tim Gunn cameo.
Yeah, almost missed it because I reached down to my phone to write about the Miley Cyrus scene cameo thing, and then I heard his voice and looked up and just for a flash of a second saw him go by.
Incredible
Like, why is he
cameo.
here?
Also very 2009.
Oh, absolutely. Please.
So then we're at the after party with the shakes.
The chic shakes.
The
That is
chic
one
shakes.
chic shake. Yeah. Okay.
They explain that Dubai is over, but Abu Dhabi is the future.
I think this is where I need to ask you if there are any behind the scenes contexts that would help explain why this movie goes to Abu Dhabi.
I don't even know, because this movie was definitely banned by the UAE and they filmed it in Morocco. So it's not even the way that this movie talks about Abu Dhabi. You would think, oh, they must have received millions of dollars from the Abu Dhabi like board of tourism
Absolutely.
to like fund this movie. No, this movie is filmed mostly in Marrakesh.
All right, you can continue. I'm going to be processing that information.
The Chic Shakes pitched Samantha a PR trip to Abu Dhabi because she did such an incredible job with the movie. She'll do such an incredible job with the country. So then Carrie goes to bitch to Stanford about whatever, the fact that Big is not fun and they're not fun. And then she looks over at Big and he is talking to none other than Penelope fucking Cruz.
Of course.
One of the hottest women alive.
Mm-hmm.
And Carrie fucking hates it.
Mm-hmm.
Stomps right over there. And I forget exactly what the inside joke is that they have where she's like, I hope you're ready to get up.
Yeah.
Something like that.
She's like, I pray every night that it goes back up or something like that.
Yes. And they're talking about those stonks
Stonks.
because she is the vice president of the Bank of Madrid. And Carrie's like, I want to go home.
Yeah. She's really like, hi. I'm like Mrs. Preston or whatever. She like hits that really hard. And then she's like, yeah, anyway, so as I was saying, I'm ready to leave when you are, like nice and, signaling her intention to leave or something like that. And Big and Penelope Cruz, have a kind of friendly goodbye. And, it was so good. Kind of like one more riff of this joke that they were having. And then leave.
Carrie rides the fume train all the way home.
Furious.
And it erupts in a fight. But this is where he's watching Deadliest Catch.
Yeah.
Which
really
is a
funny.
hilarious
So
visual joke.
Funny. And he's like enthralled.
we know they're gonna get into a fight and he's watching Deadliest Catch and like Carrie's also Deadliest Catch. Like the more you think about the metaphor, you're like, this is perfect.
I love that.
They have a fight over the TV because she's like, the TV's a little loud. And he's like, okay. And then she's like, and also it's only supposed to be for black and white movies. And he's like, okay. And then to his credit, he's like, what do you want from me? You forced me to go out. I did go out and I wasn't a bitch about it. And then like, I want to come home and watch my TV and I can't do that. So like, what do you fucking want? And she's like, I want the sparkle. I don't feel the sparkle with you. And he's like, okay, well, I don't know, but I'll work on it. And he just kind of is like, sure, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I don't remember where this fight lands, but yeah, I can I just say the line you just said was so funny of to Big's credit, he's like, what do you want from me?
I mean, am I wrong? He's like, listen, whatever you want is what I'll do.
Yeah,
do you want me to watch
He's
TV
like, I'm
or do
really-
you want me to go out?
Again, it's like, because I get it, and I get what we're trying to do is like, he is this kind of shitty, lazy husband. He like doesn't get good gifts. He just wants to sit around watching TV, and that sucks. It's like, I totally get the image they're going for. Sure. I get it. It's just funny because of we know what Big is like, and this is clearly just his nature.
Yeah.
And she's so upset that he's just acting like himself. Which is just to be a dude, you know what I mean? It's just to be lying around in idle state. It's like,
Because it's to say that she is valid and that, like,
she wants attention.
she's
and
feeling that the tension and
Yeah.
the sparkle. Like, I think that
It's a valid
quest
feeling,
is
but-
valid and people can feel that in their marriage. So I don't want it to say like I'm shitting on Carrie.
yeah.
I am just saying though, he puts up no fight.
Yeah.
He's like, tell me what you want. I'll fucking
He's
do it.
literally just like, I'm just here to be here. Just tell me what to
Yeah.
do.
Can I watch TV
He
or
went
not?
out. He didn't pout the whole time. I mean, he did have that one line that I thought it was going to go a different way, because he did have that one line where she gets pushed and he's like, see, pushing and shoving. And I did get annoyed, where I was like, okay. Like, buddy. And then we saw he was having a good time at the bar. And then she goes home and now she's upset. Anyway, it's a very funny fight. Deadliest Catch in the background makes it so much funnier. No, it's 10 out of 10. I'm loving it.
10 out of
Mr.
10.
Big is a comedic genius.
Then they fall asleep to the TV. Carrie wakes up like in the middle of the night to the TV on. She's not happy.
Yeah.
She's not happy.
She's not happy.
Next morning, we wake up to the biggest Cuisinart promo in a movie I've ever seen. There's like a slow-mo shot of a Cuisinart like coffee maker.
Oh, yeah.
And it like hovers on the logo. I'm like, I get it. Cuisinart and Abu Dhabi. Those are the two things I got to do here.
Yeah, well, they're not getting any money from the United Arab Emirates government, so they gotta make it up elsewhere.
So she gets her coffee. She runs over to her OG apartment, her little studio, to do some writing. Big kind of calls her and to make sure everything's okay. And she's like, everything's okay. I just need 2 days to bang this article out, and then I'll be right back home. And the girls meet up at brunch, and Samantha essentially pitches Abu Dhabi to everyone. She's like, I'm going on this PR trip, and guess what? We're all invited. Everybody has to clear their calendars. Miranda's unemployed, so obviously she's like, I'm there. Carrie's like, got nothing better to do, so she's like, I'm there. And Charlotte kind of puts up a little bit of a fight because she's like, I don't know, I don't want to leave my 2 kids. And I do love that Samantha's like, I go to children's birthday parties for you. You will go to Abu Dhabi for me, which is fair.
Valid.
So Carrie finishes her article and Big gives her a call being like, how's the writing going? And she's like, I'm done. And he's like, look out the window. And he's in the car and the sparkle's back because they presumably have sex.
I guess. I mean, it's like the sparkle, kind of like you said, I feel like is a very valid feeling that people have of like, oh, I miss the spontaneity. I miss the sort of flirtatious whatever. And I think in Carrie's particular case, my takeaway from this movie is I just think the committed life is really tough for her. Like, I think she just loves the chase too much and doesn't actually, I don't think she really like learns her lesson at the end of this movie and knows what the problem is. It's like your whole relationship is just going to be fighting and making up then. You know what I mean? Because that's going to be the only state in which you get excited is when he's like making up for a fight, you know?
Yes. That does become clear in this movie, and it's not quite clear how in on it Michael Patrick King and co are. Because they do say it pretty explicitly in the second half, which we'll get to more into later, but they do say that pretty explicitly, where Carrie essentially is like, yeah, I gotta be chased. And like, I gotta feel like I'm on the edge, which is like fitting for her.
Yeah.
But I feel like they don't really address that issue. They more address that like marriages can get boring.
Yes.
Which is a different issue.
Yes. Correct. And they don't seem to really handle that terribly well. I mean, it's like, because we know what's going to happen with Miranda and Steve and her being so upset about watching movies with ice cream with him. And we've had this discussion before about like their conception of a marriage going wrong seems very different from like you and I's perception of like a marriage going very wrong. It's just like, this is a thing that can happen is like marriage will get boring. You know, you'll get into this like routine and you'll want to start finding things like this is normal.
So Carrie's packing for the Middle East and basically Big pitches like, what if we did take off 2 days a week from living together? And like he says like, I'll get my own apartment and I'll stay there for 2 days. And then that way we can like come back refreshed, which kind of answers her thing about needing space and like needing to be chased. To be honest, I was like, this is actually a good fix. And she is like, so you want to take time off of our marriage, which I think is a apt reaction in terms of like, I can understand how somebody would react that way. But the more that they kind of like talk it out, they seem to kind of come to the conclusion of like, we'll try it out. And Mr. Big, you can stay in my OG apartment. We don't have to get a third apartment in this recession.
They were hit so much. It's so funny to hear her use the phrase waste of money.
Yeah, I know.
I think the idea of we can take a couple days to get space, I think in other contexts could be a concerning thing. That would be a statement that's like Okay, hang on though. So you want to take a break from me. You know, your lifelong committed partner. That's what you're saying. Is like you just don't want to deal with me and you don't want to deal with the fact that we're married. I think in the context of these two people, in the context of this relationship, I do think it's an interesting idea. I think it kind of makes a certain amount of sense because what we know about Carrie and what she likes, and if she needs that sparkle, if she needs that chase, okay, then this is a way to kind of artificially recreate that feeling a little bit each time by like giving them space so that she can like get chased back to him. You know, it is, I feel like, I don't feel like he was asking because of his needs. It definitely felt like he was suggesting it because of her needs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and he comes from a very like surprisingly un-Mr. Big place of being like, I wouldn't have suggested it if I knew it would make you this mad. Like, I just thought it was an idea, and I just wanted to throw the idea out there.
I'm astonished that we have these many, you know, agreeable things to say about Mr. Big in this. This was not where I thought this film was going to be going.
And mouth agape. And that is the biggest crime of this film, is that you end being pro Mr. Big.
Yeah, twisted.
Which then explains why he's able to cook, masturbate, and die in And Just Like That. Because you're like, he was an icon and he did leave a big hole.
He was an icon. Slay.
He was slay. God. Remember this later.
Okay.
Oh, Emily.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Well, 58 minutes into the movie, I recorded it. We are on the plane to Abu Dhabi.
Oh my God.
We're not even in Abu Dhabi. We are on the plane to fucking Abu Dhabi.
Okay. 58 minutes.
We get another horrific hat watch. This hat is a crime. I don't know who this hat is a crime against. It's a crime against our eyes collectively as human beings. It's like a squished Easter basket that also was a raft for Moses at one time. It is an ugly, ugly hat. And they make 10 jokes about how it's an ugly hat and it does not redeem it.
No.
Sorry.
And it's so large that it's like, did they have to? It makes me wonder how she fit in through the door.
And then the biggest offense of all is like, she goes to the flight attendant, because the flight attendants all have little hats. And she's like, and I thought my hat was ridiculous. I'm like, the flight attendant looks classy. You look like an asshole.
Yeah.
Can you imagine the people in coach on this flight seeing this woman in the recession in that hat?
They're flying back home because they've lost their job at Lehman Brothers and they're moving back home with their parents and they're getting on coach and then they see fucking Carrie Bradshaw walk by with a baby raft on her head.
She also looks like she can't see in the hat. Like she has to like tip her head up because it's like covering her eyes.
It's clearly not meant to be worn.
I cannot tell you just how ugly it is. It's not even like a big hat that's like gaudy and tacky or whatever.
It's like not a hat.
It looks like it was squashed.
Yeah.
And then they were like, fuck, well, we have to wear it.
It's just big and like not hat shaped. It doesn't look, it looks paper mache. It really looks like it's like a paper mache like urn.
Or a volcano. Yeah, it looks like a squished paper mache volcano project. It doesn't go with her dress.
Looks heavy.
Even.
Yeah.
It looks heavy. And where did you pack that?
Where'd you pack it?
Where'd you pack it, bitch?
Is gonna fit this.
I hate it. I needed it to like be set on fire at some point in Abu Dhabi, and the fact that it's not is upsetting to me.
Yeah, we never see it again. I think this might be for me the worst hat I've seen so far. I think this is gonna.
No, it is officially the worst hat. The worst hat in this entire media empire.
How insulting for that poor flight attendant. And I thought my hat was ridiculous. And then she's like, excuse you.
She's like, I have to wear this for my job. And also it's cute. So fuck right off.
Yeah. She looks so put together. And then, oh my God. Anyway.
I hate it. Well, everybody's up to their business. Miranda's reading all the guides and being our cultural attaché in this movie.
Great.
Charlotte is looking at the US Weekly that has literally a story about a cheating nanny on it. And that has sent her into the spiral that will last the entire film about whether or not Harry's cheating on her with the fucking nanny.
Which is exhausting. It's like not funny. And then we saw it get resolved. It's like all of them have their thing resolved. So like Miranda's thing has already kind of been resolved because she quit a couple scenes later, she showed up at the fair. That's the end of her plot for the episode. Charlotte was worried about the nanny. The nanny comes to her rescue. She's now cool with the nanny. That's the end of her plot for the episode. Carrie and Big kind of had like a resolution in the car that got reopened with the taking day break suggestion. Mm-hmm. And so now we're back in it. But the car thing, it felt like there was sort of an end here, but we need to make Carrie really upset about it. So then it's opened again. It felt like we actually reached a conclusion, but no, Carrie has to be upset about his suggestion. And then Samantha, who has nothing going on except for that she's perpetually hormonal from her stuff, right?
Women, am I right?
Women. So you see what I mean? Where it's like all their plots technically ended at the end of the quote-unquote episode. It's like we're still stuck in TV format. And then the movie has to go to Abu Dhabi for some reason. So all of them just reopen up all of their crises again for no reason. It's so frustrating. It's so annoying.
Yeah. It's very frustrating. And I also think that this conversation at the airplane bar is incredibly frustrating, which is essentially that Carrie brings up this whole break plan and Charlotte goes in on her. And it's clear that Charlotte's like dealing with this insecurity about this nanny, which as we've stated is like invented for the plot. So I like kind of already don't believe it. But we do end with one of the most iconic moments of all time, which is that Charlotte basically says like, aren't you hurt by the fact that he wants to basically just take 2 days to not be around you? And Carrie's like, you just don't get it. And the level of face acting that comes out of Sarah Jessica Parker is unhinged.
It's a miracle.
The way that she shakes her head, looks to the side as if an imaginary person's there so she can be like, yeah. And then like look side to side really quick and then like take the drink. It is.
Takes the drink while her eyes sort of like look around the bar nervously while sipping. It's masterful. It's a miracle of acting.
Masterful.
Every time I see it, I laugh. And I think you did warn me that it's coming up in this movie, and I will say I did have the pleasure of forgetting that warning. So my God, when we got there and I just saw her go, like do the little smile and saw it coming, I like grabbed my chest. I was like, oh my God, it's happening. I was like so excited. And the music, the soft guitar, you know what I mean? They're just like, oh, it's masterful. Everybody just look up Carrie Bradshaw, You Just Don't Get It. Like, you might have seen the gif of it or whatever. Oh, it's so good. It's so funny. Good. It's so funny.
So good. A masterclass. And we end with Carrie watching like a soap opera looking movie. And she kind of meditates on love and friendship and what marriage means. And that is the end of our part one. Because next scene, they will be in Abu Dhabi and they will wake up to that newfound crisis. So,
okay.
We end this episode like we end all episodes with our rose and our thorn, our high and our low. Emily, what was your low of this first hour of the goddamn movie? What was your get them?
I think my low of this movie is gonna be the I want to say the gay wedding.
Yeah.
I just like, as we discussed, I was just like, I was not a fan of all of that, and it's too much. Aside from Liza Minnelli, I did not have a good time at this wedding.
I will not be RSVPing. My low has to be the hat. It's ugly. I hate it. Next.
Horrendous.
What was your high? What was your release the Kraken of this part one?
It's Erin. It's gotta be Erin. Because not only is it just like so funny and so joyful and stupid, like all the little moments with her like boobs bouncing around is just such a good bit. But then she also comes to Charlotte's rescue, and we haven't seen enough examples so far through and just like that of like girls supporting girls. It's just so nice to see someone who's nice. MVP Erin.
MVP Erin. I think my release the Kraken is the unhinged scene between Big and Carrie when Carrie just takes that dark turn at the Sobu bag and pours the drink. I don't know if they intended for it to be funny, but it's fucking hilarious. Well, this has been our part 1. If you want to hear about the exaltations of Abu Dhabi, you're going to have to see us in part 2. Scary. But in the meantime, please like, subscribe, rate us, throw ugly hats at us. We hate that. Tell us why this movie is in Abu Dhabi and not Dubai. We'd love to hear your crack theories. Lay them on me in the comments. And until next time, bye.